Hello, hello, good evening, and welcome to another edition of Roz's Happy Hour. I'm your girl, Roz, coming to you from Trichet Entertainment. So, what's happening? How's everybody doing? I pray you are as healthy in mind and body as you are strong in spirit. So, if you are new to our show, well, welcome and hope you keep coming back. For now, um, everyone, could you please share the link? I don't want anyone that wants to meet our next guest to miss out. Oh my goodness. Did you see last week's show with jazz saxophonist Gerald Albright? Was that not amazing? He is such a great guy and artist. Um, his real down to earth interview was so much fun. I had so much fun. Please support him. And he made a big announcement following my show. He is now on Cameo. If you need a shout out for a celebration of any kind, go to the Cameo to find Gerald Albright and he'll hook you up. Our guest for today is an renowned American painter and sculptor. He is known internationally, and his work has been featured in several exhibitions in key galleries and museums, and in numerous celebrity homes, including the White House and the King Palace of South Africa, has acquired his painting. Please put your hands together and let's give him some hearts. Please welcome Chaz Guess. Hey,
A
Chaz,
heck of an
what's
introduction.
happening?
How you doing, Trish?
I am
Tricia?
wonderful.
Mademoiselle Tricia? How
How
are
are
you?
you? I am doing wonderful. Thank you. How are you? I
Um,
mean, how are you in this pandemic?
I'm good I'm good by myself, and but of course with everything going on around, um it's difficult that way. But as far as me personally, nothing has changed. But like lately, I had we had this tragedy of my friend's son, who was killed in an automobile accident. So that
Yeah.
kind of like brought me way down for this week.
Yes.
But for the most part, I'm blessed. I'm happy, blessed, creative, inspired,
Okay.
superlative.
Okay, great. Well, welcome to Roz's Happy Hour. And I know I saw a painting of you with a bottle of Voo.
With the bottle of
So,
food,
with a bottle of Voo, you had some Voo. This, oh, you can't see. You had the Voo.
with
I
the
saw
food.
this is Voo. It was sitting by your collection.
Is
So,
that what you're having right now?
that's what I'm having. Let's toast for life and get it
I
started.
I have me some sake. Hang on.
Oh,
Hang on. This is
okay.
this is some sake from Yamagata. I had to dig in my stash for your happy
Ooh, ooh, that's special.
hour. Yeah, some
Sake.
pie.
Okay.
Cheerio.
Yes, cheers. Mm,
Damn, that's good.
that's good.
That's good
That
stuff.
was good. So I wanted to tell everybody that my husband and I met Chaz with our cousin Faye and Bob Davison at one of your art exhibits at the Maddie and Michael Lawson's home, previously owned by Muhammad Ali. Oh my God, was that a fabulous event in Hancock Park? Oh my,
She's so one of Michael and Maddie are so wonderful there to put that on for me as I entered into Los Angeles from New York. The contrast of the two cities was
mm,
bizarre. And
yeah,
they were the first to really embrace not only my work, but myself,
Mm.
And after they acquired a couple of my paintings, Maddie just turned to her husband and said, "Honey, why don't we give him a show?"
Oh, nice.
That's
And
pretty
they
much
did
how
that.
it happened. And God bless her, she didn't let me pay for anything. And
Wow.
I never, no, that's, I've had some really, really, I've been blessed in my life like that. But that was a big, that was a big thing for me. Raising, I was kind of scared raising my son, my first son, as a painter, and then changing cities like that. So that was a really big thing, that, and a gesture that I will never, ever, ever forget as long as I live.
Yeah, I was
And
going to ask you, how are your sons?
they're fantastic. My oldest son just finished Morehouse. Thank God.
Oh, yeah, Morehouse man.
I was in that corner painting my tuchus off.
You
Get it
see?
done. Mm. And then my other son is a little
Congratulations.
genius. He's 17. He's preparing himself for Harvard. I love his discipline.
Wow.
Discipline is extraordinary. And
Wow.
he has chosen to take an AP major, mathematics,
Ooh.
in the summer, to just put him up. He's already at a 4.0, but he's like, Dad, I got to get that 4.5. I'm like, okay, go talk to your mom. Because see,
Wow.
I'm an athlete, and I don't know how I graduated.
Yeah. Yeah, that I was
Only
gonna
Jesus
ask
knew
you
that.
that because actually before you started painting, you was a athlete. I mean, you were in martial arts.
First, I was a martial artist at the age of 10
Mm.
to 15. And then fell in love. See, you don't only just start doing gymnastics, you got to be kind of special, kind of crazy. So
Mhm.
I went that special kind of crazy and dedicated my entire life to to gymnastics. And then I did gymnastics at Southern Connecticut State University. And that pretty much, after that graduation, see, that all of that discipline pretty much set me up for New York City, and how I was, as time would have it, how I got myself through all of that to become
A
a painter.
painter. So let's start with your journey of Chaz Getz, the painter. You're born in Niagara Falls, New York,
Yeah.
and you're nine. You're the seventh
Nine
of nine.
siblings. Mhm.
Wow. And your father is a
He was
preacher.
a minister in church, and he was a preacher, and he was also a racing car. He was a drag strip, Niagara drag strip car racer.
Wow.
And
Wait, not a preacher at the same time.
he was probably preaching to get to the finish line. So he did that. He was a very, very interesting cat. I'm so happy that I had him, as a father, showing me showing me how to undress people with their uniforms, and don't be so impressed by uniforms and what people
Mm-hmm.
have. My father showed me that,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
from by example, it really, really helped in
Mm-hmm.
my life. And growing up in Niagara Falls was really quiet.
Mm.
It was, we used to look this kind of thing, for a black family. We went to Dairy Queen and had ice cream. Dairy Queen, is it called?
Yeah, yeah,
Had ice
yeah,
cream. My
Sally.
dad would park right in front of the falls, and we would just like eat ice cream and look at the different lights on the falls. I was in a very, very strange. No, I wouldn't say strange. I was in a very, very different environment growing up.
Mm.
Um, until the age of 10, when my parents divorced and my mom took us off to Philadelphia. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's where I got all the flavor.
Wow.
But as
Wow.
far as Niagara Falls, I mean, it was just like church, and more church, and
Mm,
more church, and then it was
mm,
like racing, watching my dad race, then fishing. He used to fish, and hell, I just remember putting together puzzles and coloring. I was always in,
mm.
so therefore, and I was in charge of digging for the worms. So I
Ooh.
had, by accident, I was being raised in a meditative state.
Mm.
So therefore, when I finally got to the inner city of Philadelphia, my eyes were like that big, and my ears were like
Wow.
even bigger.
Wow.
And so I was able to pay very, very close attention from the way that I started in my life.
Mm.
So I know what silence
Yes.
is.
Wow.
And silence offers a lot of information.
Mm. Wow, that's deep already.
It's not so deep.
That so you have work on display in galleries all over the world: New York, Tokyo, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Paris,
Hmm.
um, since 1993. Is that correct?
Well, now I pretty much started. I pretty much sold my first paintings. Big. Well, I pretty much sold my oil paintings in about 1992, but I was already
Mm.
doing a form of art as a fashion illustrator in New York and in Paris. So I was
Mm.
doing that, and it started in like 88, I think, 87. No, 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 87.
Oh, okay.
And I wish I had been painting, I guess, because I had met, like, Andy Warhol and Basquiat and Keith Haring.
Mm.
Keith Haring. I have a very funny story about Keith Haring because my friend, my one of my best friends in the world. We've been friends for like 30 years. He's like my brother. His
Oh,
name is
wow.
Wayne. I remember when I used to live on 14th Street,
Okay.
between 6th and 7th Avenue, and so I was between Nell's nightclub and also the Palladium was on the left down the street. And funny enough, Wayne, he was the coolest cat. He know everybody,
Mm.
and I was just trying to find my way as just recently retiring from gymnastics and landing in New York City. And I remember being at Nell's, and Keith Haring was painting on my buddy's jacket. And then he turned to me and said, Chaz, you want to play it on your jacket? I was like, oh, he won't be painting on this jacket. No way. So that goes to show you, I didn't know a thing. So
Mm.
New York
Wow.
was just like, I did get photographed by Andy Warhol's photographer, Christopher Makos,
Mm.
because I was in shape because I was just finishing gymnastics, and you're talking about mid '80s. It's
Mhm.
not like it is now where everybody's working out. See, I just had retired from gymnastics, and so
Mm.
I look pretty. I looked as weird as Andy Warhol did. I guess
Wow.
we both look weird to each other. So
Wow.
so Christopher Marcos, yeah, I wish I can get a hold of that picture. That would be pretty amazing. That
Mhm.
would be
Mm.
pretty. What do you call that? Not euphoric, but when you have like a far away flashback. What is that called?
Yeah, reminisce,
Yeah,
reminisce.
something like that. That's not the word, but
Oh,
it's
you know
close.
not to ask me that. So
Euphoric,
yeah,
euphoric,
euphoric.
uh, euphoria. Yeah, whatever.
Okay. So I want to do something different. Normally, I like to talk and then we'll get into videos and things like that.
Yeah.
But I so want people to see some of your work and know just how like wonderful greatness that you are. So if you don't mind, can we go to the video? How about that? Okay.
Hit
Hit it. Well, I don't know if it's gonna be that smooth, but I'm gonna get it going. Hang on, yeah. Okay.
Enslaved, hang in some of the most prestigious homes across the world. as do his geishas with their depiction of global citizenry. And then there's his portraits of kings, world leaders, prima ballerinas, superstar musicians, and icons in business. Paintings his high-end collectors covet and commission. Quite a feat for a self-trained artist who's defied every convention and helped put the LA art scene on the map.
I hope that my paintings serve as sort of like an ushering of what true humanity is, I guess. I think it would help people to see people as people.
Wow.
There you go. I'm glad that you showed that LA Stories, that Giselle Fernandez. As a matter of fact, you know that is nominated for part of the Emmy
Oh
Award.
my goodness. Congratulations.
Well, no,
That
it was
was
nominated for Emmy, but the LA Journal Award or something like that. I forgot,
mhm,
but that should be very interesting. That will be excellent.
mm. So I want to holler at a couple people that's saying hello. That's Laura Blake. Very talented. Yes, he is. And Desiree is just amazing. She did the graphics for your piece.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so I
That's
wanted to make sure we said hello. Um, all right, nice. So, Chaz, we have so much to talk about. I know that you were invited to Switzerland. Can you tell us about that? I mean, that was an amazing opportunity.
hmm Yeah, you know, I'd like to like back that story up and just tell you, you know, sometimes, you know, I talk about this a lot. I used to say that, you know, life is full of like magic, but in fact, life is you have sometimes a chance to walk in divine favor. And I'm going to give you, before I talk about Switzerland and how I got there, I want to tell you about a divine um, blessing and how, well, it is sort of like magic. You can't see it. You know, you can't understand who's watching to make things happen.
Mm.
So I won't sound crazy. Let me tell you what I mean. So when I went to Switzerland, I, is this artist happens to be now one of my favorite artists in the world, Bauchus. And I'm going to tell you a story about how it came to be that I was finally invited by his widow, who's like, I think 40 years younger than him, because he died at 94. And so when I went to see her, she was like 70. So Countess Setsuko Klauskowski Dirola is her name. And so I'm back this all the way up to when I first started painting, when I like fell in love with painting. And so part of my teaching myself how to paint, I used to go to the museums in New York a lot. I mean, I went to the museums like, I mean, every other day. If I wasn't, you know, physically painting, I was like mentally painting that in the museums. And there was this one painting that I was like really, really utterly intrigued by. And the name of the painting, the title of the painting is A Love Song. And it's by the artist Giorgio de Chirico. Actually, how you say his name is De Chirico. De Chirico. Giorgio de Chirico. As Giorgio de Chirico for American people. And so I must have drawn and painted that love song painting many times. So I want to tell you something. Every time I went inside of the museum, there was this painting hanging right on the side of that wall, the opposite wall. that it caught my attention, but I used to immediately run away from it because it just bothered me.
Oh, wow.
It just bothered me, this one.
Oh,
And I
wow.
never paid attention to stop and look at it. I just ran away from it. And just by looking at it, I guess you can tell why it would be so mysteriously a little nerving for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was drawing my own narrative around that painting. Now, this painting is by Balthus.
Mm.
Many years go by. So I'm utterly familiar with this painting. Decades go by. And we're in now 2002. My girlfriend and I at the time, we broke up, and I was like I was really low.
Mm.
And I had this amazing friend from this old Jewish guy. He Alberto at the time was 85. And he looked exactly like Mark Twain. I'm telling you, he looked just like Mark Twain.
Mm.
And he was very intelligent. I learned so much from this man. This man was a connoisseur of life.
Mm.
And when I say that, he knew chocolate, food, wine, dogs, cats,
Mm-hmm.
art.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I was at he and his wife's home and up New York, upper East Side, New York. And I was in one of my low moods. He's talking to me. We're drinking wine and we're laughing. This sort of like he's trying to like really get in there. And we're eating this old dried up baguette and we're drinking some fabulous wine. And you know the thing about Alberto, when he used to laugh, he used to make me laugh harder because he used to laugh and he used to cough like he make himself like laugh so hard he thought he'd cough, and it would just make me laugh so hard. I mean, I was just
Mm-hmm.
like I enjoyed him so much, rest his soul. So Alberto was talking to me about art, and I said, Roberto, who's your favorite artist?
Mm-hmm.
And so he walks with his cane and he grabs this book.
Wow.
And I don't know who Balthus is. I just know that. So I'm talking and I'm looking through the book and blah, 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 and this and that. And I'm going on. And, you know, ladies and gentlemen, I come across that painting that I just showed you. And I was like, holy mackerel, is that guy? And so I just started like looking at more of his paintings. And I absolutely fell in love with the rest of his work. And so here's where the magic starts. You ready? Hold on. So I said, Alberto, can I get one of Ville's books? And he said, it's virtually impossible. And so I started looking all over the place for this book. Even that's when the internet came out too. I was kind of good on the internet by then. I was looking in Paris and London, Japan. I found this book at the Strand bookstore in New York on the top shelf to the left, all dusty. But I saw this Balthus way at the top. And I grabbed this last book that is totally, totally non-available. Okay, so here's where the magic starts. 2002, you're talking 4 years later, I have an exhibition here in LA.
Mm-hmm.
And I meet this one female painter, Elizabeth Colombo, who is an amazing painter. And she says she wants to come to my exhibition. And she wants to bring a friend from Europe. They were both coming from Europe. I said, it's fine. Guess who she brings?
Mm-hmm.
She brings the daughter of Balthus.
Wow.
And this is her.
Wow.
That's at my exhibition. And her name is Harumi Kowskowski Derola. She's an amazing jewelry designer.
Wow.
Quite a stunner, too. And we become very, very good friends, as you can see. Then she had her son. That's us at the Chateau Marmont
Wow.
hotel. That's with her little son, Sen.
Yes.
And then we start to form this, and it's already amazing that she's the daughter. And then she says, "You have to meet my brother." So I meet Stanislas
Wow.
Kowskowski Derola, and he's wearing his father's cardigan, Missoni cardigan, and he came to my show. It looked exactly like his father. I almost had a heart attack.
Wow.
And then it was Stanislas, who talked to his stepmother, Countess Setsuko Kowskowski Derola, and she is the one who invited me to the Grand Chalet in Switzerland. And I got a chance to not only be in this beautiful Grand Chalet in this small village in Switzerland of about 500 people, where we make goat cheese and stuff.
Wow.
But I got to see. You see, the thing about me is that when I'm into something, I'm like a sponge. And when I stood in Baltus's studio, I can actually. This is like an autistic characteristic. I can actually draw his entire studio right now. That's how much I just like. I took in everything. I remember the name of his paints. I went looking around the world for the same paints, the brushes I analyzed, the canvas, the way he stretched his canvases, the grids that he made, although I'm not into making grids when I paint. But that man's concentration was extraordinary. And also it was Picasso who bought a few of his paintings because Picasso was so intrigued by how long he would labor on a painting, which would be a year. I can't even imagine that myself. And Picasso would just paint like crazy. But you see how the magic of this that I'm talking about?
Yes.
From the painting that I looked at the museum, that painting would be the one to usher my entire high-end, high-octane art life. Wow. Because I learned a tremendous amount, only spiritually as well, but also technically, and also my material advanced because I just copied him. And then if you know the work of Matisse's Henri Matisse's son, Pierre Matisse was Balthus's dealer. So I was actually in the helm of what we know as the master painters of our time.
Wow.
Yeah. And so a brother from Philly.
That's amazing. Well, first of all, you said that she was 40 years younger?
Yeah. He met her when she was in Tokyo, and he was doing some kind of work over there in Tokyo. And she's like a real geisha. She's extremely talented.
Yes.
Since she was little. She showed me some shoes needlepoint shoes that she made that I see in some of these paintings in the book. I see those same shoes. These are the shoes that Setsuko made. So anyway, he's one of my, all-time favorite painters next to Romare Bearden and Archibald Motley. A lot of the paintings that Mr. Bob and Faye Davison have, actually. Okay. Their home it's like a museum in there. They have all my favorite painters. He gave me the greatest compliment. You know, he said I'm the only contemporary artist that he has in his collection. What a
Wow.
compliment. What a
Yes.
compliment that is.
Wow. Congratulations. That is nice. But you have some your work is displayed on the Empire on the set Empire on Fox.
It was.
Yeah. How did you get your work there?
Mm.
And let's see what else we
Yeah,
got.
they called me and asked me, can they rent a painting? It's just so funny how, I don't know.
But you have, I mean, but Tyler Perry has several of your paintings as well.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
mean, so I know it's not the same, but um people just know you and they see your work.
I
Oh, I
guess. I mean,
forgot to
I
tell you.
certainly don't do a public relation thing. That's just how I'm on your show.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
don't.
forgot to tell you.
What's
Um,
up?
a friend of mine, a good friend of ours, Ephraim Turner, he said, "Don't forget to tell him I have his American Boy." He says, "I
Ephraim
have,
Turner. Okay,
yeah,
well, you know I won't remember that,
no,
all
no,
right.
no, no." But
Yeah.
yes, he says,
But
"You got
I
American
appreciate
Boy."
it immensely. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It took me a little while to embrace the empire thing because I have my work has found its way. I don't know if this will come off as, I don't know how, but if I ask me if I care, I don't. So I'll just say that, you know, when I get my work across the Atlantic, for instance, to Africa,
Mm,
that's something that I take a personal note.
yes.
But you know, I mean, you know, Hollywood has its place and everything, but I think the my importance in this lifetime is has gone beyond Hollywood. You
Yeah.
know,
Yes. Yeah.
so I have a lot of work to do.
Yes. Well, I just I'm gonna name drop. I mean, Oprah Winfrey,
I appreciate it, and I hope
yours,
that you come on the, you know,
and Thurl
cheerio.
Marshall. Wait a minute, Thurgood Marshall. President Obama has in your painting's been in the Oval Office.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Now that was a big move right there. Thanks to you know, Manny and Michael Lawson again. That was um that was before those doors were locked shut. And
Really?
my painting of Thurgood Marshall made it in there.
Okay.
And honest and truly, I'm gonna be totally honest with your audience. I was not into that even. I didn't care. I just really didn't care. I was painting.
Oh
I had
wow.
painting to do. But you know, it caught on later. I
Hmm.
said, well, you know, Chaz, that is the that is the White House.
Yes. Yeah, that
But
is
when
the
the
White House.
invitations started coming in, then I started to recognize the velocity of what I had achieved.
Hmm.
Because that's pretty much how I got that invitation to the Gambia, to Ghana. And
Yes.
by the way, it was the king in Ghana who invited me, not South Africa. That is Ghana.
Oh, Ghana. Okay, the where your
And
work is
his
in.
name is Otumfu Ositutu II. He's the king of the Asante. And
Oh,
he invited me to his palace. In fact, that's the painting that I have to, at one point, get back to Ghana.
yes. And the painting behind me, is that
That that is called Thankful, I believe.
oh, yes.
And
It is.
that is painted on and on an old antique Betsy Ross flag.
Oh.
So that painting, I remember painting that painting. You know, I was dreaming about that painting. I painted that painting in my sleep.
Mhm.
And so when I got up and had my coffee and pretended to do some exercise, I I then stood in front of this painting and it really painted itself out because I had already dreamt about it. I don't even remember painting it, to tell you the truth, physically, but I
Wow.
remember the dream. And
Yeah.
that the yellow ochre and the titanium white of his beard and the vermilion of his lips and the color of his skin was like a mystery, bringing that. And you know, the darkest parts of his skin is mixed with sap green and alizarin crimson red to bring that chocolate color there.
Wow.
It is the most rich Hershey chocolate color you're gonna get.
Yeah, so that was going to be one of my questions is how do you decide the colors?
How to decide the color? You
Yeah.
know, when we as humans walk outside, we when you pay attention, you are you're treated with the most amazing hue arrangement of color. If you pay attention, that is exactly where all my colors come from. I just pay attention to
Wow.
autumn, spring, winter, and um, I pay attention to things that are growing out of the ground before they become completely ripe. They're an array of natural colors. And then at one point, I picked up my first palette when I was in Paris from the street, from a cobblestone street of rocks. And then I just like learned the hue of each rock. And I made my palette from there. But then after I visited Switzerland and I came across Balthus, I became very, very attracted to patchouli red, which is a brick red, and also Egyptian blue, which is my superhero is Egyptian blue.
Oh wow,
He,
yes.
he will be and you know Egyptian blue, you know he's from the Dogon tribe, and he's from the Dogon tribe, and the Dogon is they are descendants of the Egyptians.
Ooh.
And so therefore that Egyptian blue plays a magnificent part in this color. Okay, so you have to ask me another question.
Yeah.
Oh, I need
So
some more.
let me I want to show this can y'all see that?
Oh yeah, I like doing that painting.
Yeah. Let me bring it up a little bit. We can still hear you.
I like doing that painting. But I
Let's
can tell you who it is.
yeah.
Well, that's an inspiration that's an inspiration of Maya Angelou. When she
Right.
was a little girl, you see that big pencil in her
Yeah.
hand?
Yes.
Yeah, she's
Oh.
grown up, and you see she's rambunctious with her hand in her pocket, and she has on those boy overalls.
Yes. Wow, that's
I like doing that painting. You see, when I paint, I make up a story in my head. You know, I'm tripping,
yeah.
absolutely tripping,
Wow.
and it's like you know, Oprah loved that painting.
Yeah, that's
She told me that that's in the girls' school in South Africa. That's where she put it.
oh yes, I could see that. I could see that. Let's take a look at another one.
Yeah.
Um, oh, I love this painting. Did it sorry. Here we go. This is ooh, look at that.
Oh, so Oprah has this painting.
Oh, she has this. This is like a classroom.
Yeah, that is the classroom of the Industrial Revolution period. And so that's at her home in Montecito.
Nice. Nice.
I love that painting too.
Yeah.
I didn't know that I was painting that painting with pressure until she said, beautiful is too mild a word. And my whole body exhaled.
What?
I didn't even know that I had that.
Oh my God. God, I would have been the same
That little
way.
girl on the left, she's trying her heart out, right? My goodness.
Yes,
She's all
yes,
hunched over. She's in it. And the
yes.
poor little fellow in the middle, he's relying on that one girl. She's like, she's the smart one in the class. He's
Mhm,
like, I need your help. That's how I used to be in
mhm,
college. I'll pay
mhm.
you $10 if you tilt your paper over a little bit.
Yeah,
He's trying.
yeah,
He's, he's trying to get it together.
yeah. How do you choose the paint? I read that you use paints out of China or very, very expensive paints.
Yeah, I put back everything to my paintings. My way of living, like when
Mhm,
I do my taxes, I'm always amazed. You know, I live as a painter. I put everything right back
mhm,
into. It's going to be very interesting the ensuing years because now that college is paid for of my son, I
mhm,
get to reinvest harder into my life as a painter. And so I'm going to start doing sculptures again. And in fact,
oh,
I've started the process of making a solid 24 karat gold action figure of my superhero.
ooh,
And
24 karat
that's going
gold?
to be, yeah, 24 karat pure. I'm
Whoa.
not gonna mix anything with the gold. It's just gonna be pure, and it's only you can only get that in the maple coins, the gold
Yeah.
coins, which is very. They just went up, and
Isn't it soft? The gold is
yes,
soft?
but it's not good to wear. So you mix alloy with it to make it harder. But this is not this action figure will just pretty much be a sculptural piece.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. That's gonna be amazing. So,
So I got onto that to just say, you know, my tubes of paint are the very, very best in the world.
mm-hmm.
My pigment, my canvas is linen, the best linen from Belgium.
Oh.
You know, everything that I use is just the best that you can find
Mm-hmm.
because I think that my 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 work deserves that. But more importantly, the people that are collecting my work, I want to take care of them, make
Yes.
sure they have the very best.
Yes. Yes. So, you did a couple pieces for a good friend of mine, Trayvon Martin's mom.
Oh, you know them.
Mhm. Yes,
Wow.
absolutely. That
Wow, this
was
is really a trip.
so you do pieces for social justice as a tremendous part of your work. Wait, what's your shirt say?
Black man. And then
Let
on the
me
back
see.
here it says unarmed. You see that?
Unarmed. Oh
And
my
it's named
God.
all of the unarmed. You can find
Oh,
these online.
oh wow.
You know,
We got to walk around hands up.
not.
So,
I mean, I don't know. It's just the way you play that card. I mean, if I get any trouble, you're gonna read about it constantly on CNN because I'm gonna sue everybody.
everybody.
And I'll find out addresses, and I will tell Tyrone, Goody, Leonard,
You know, you
Terrence,
better call him. What about
roll.
George Floyd? Have you done a piece for him? For him?
I didn't do him, but I did a piece centered around that whole
Mm,
thing. The social justice thing. You see, I don't wait for something to happen. I mean, if I feel it, I've got to paint it out of me. It's not like, oh, that happened, I have to do a painting. It's more like if it's in my gut and it's doing damage to me, I've gotta paint it out. I've got to shed that. That's what happened around Trayvon Martin.
mhm,
I was greatly, greatly disturbed.
mhm.
Greatly disturbed. I'm so very sensitive. And at the time, my son was the same age, just like him, long, tall,
Mm-hmm.
hoodie thing.
Mm-hmm.
And when my son was visiting his freshman year from Morehouse, and he was napping on the couch, and I was just looking at him, and I was just imagining my whole life would just be so different.
Wow.
Because those guys would not be walking around, I swear to you.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to Trayvon's father, and he found peace with that, but I couldn't.
Mm-mm.
I couldn't find peace with that.
That's too much forgiving. I'm sorry.
No, I don't have that. I don't have that. They would not be here. I swear to you, on a stack of Bibles this high.
Yeah.
So they should be careful, because there are some people out there that is just like, you got to find a peaceful way. I've done martial arts on the samurai code of Bushido, and I will find a great way to die.
I saw that. I
Mhm.
saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you
I
for
smile a lot, but I'm a crazy dude.
well, thank you for, keeping social justice
Now
first.
it's Breonna Taylor, because I don't understand that.
Yeah.
I don't understand what's happening. And since you're talking about that, I believe that we're probably doing the right thing. We're doing the right thing because we're paying attention. But I'm gonna say this to the audience, but not be long-winded about it. I think our focus might be off of the bullseye. I believe that after slavery, there is some paperwork and clauses that we are not privy to. It's a far thought that I have. Because to see how people behave towards us, they must know something that we don't know. And so we were property. I just read something about the damn Titanic. They didn't even count the black people on the Titanic. They just thought that they were just property of the Titanic. Can you believe that?
I did not know
Isn't
that.
that the 1900s?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so check this. You've got that behavior by those people. Where the hell do you think those people are? They're still here. And they're in high places. So when you have this going on, the focus is in the courts and it's up in that White House. There is some paperwork that we are not privy to. I'm sure I'm right. I feel it in my heart.
Yes. Yes.
And as an example, there is one of the oldest clauses. It's from Morocco, and it's black Moors. Will have nothing to do with the laws of the United States of America. Exempt.
Wow.
Diplomatic immunity. Now that's a clause that not a lot of people know about. So these are the kind of clauses because for some crazy ass white people to behave like that, they are getting information from a higher place. We have to look into that. Maybe if Biden and Kamala make it in that White House, I'm going to be screaming. I'm going to look under every couch and every desk until I pull out. I'm going to find me a piece of paper. I'm going to find me a piece of paper.
Yes.
Let me show you something.
Something to think
This is
about.
how, when I talk, I am so far from BSing. Rosalind, you see this right here?
Yes.
This is a document that I bought from slavery. Wow, it smells like cigarette. It smells like pipes. Let me read this to you. This is drawn up on behalf of Charles McGraw. In it, McGraw states, "I will bequeath all my lands and Negroes, my horse, my mule, to my son, Alexander McGraw." This is the court of the United States of America.
Wow.
Now, instead of making
Wow.
WAP, WAP videos shaking your ass, why don't
Wow.
we investigate this with all of that notoriety you have?
Wow. Wow. That's deep.
This is very deep.
That's very
And
deep.
the thing is that,
Woo.
we marched 50,000 people in Hollywood. That's the wrong thing. Put them 50,000 people up on these documents that's in there, because I will guarantee you that Black people in America were not looking at the bullseye. That's why they behave like that. That is why they can behave like that.
Yes.
With that man's knee on that man's neck, with his hands in his pocket, with that confidence in his face, his devil maggot ass have some information that we are not privy to.
Yes. Yes.
Now let me just have a drink to that, because
Yeah,
I might
drink
need
to that. Yeah, I knew you was gonna be deep. I need a
that
drink.
makes
Y'all
me
have a drink. Let's hey LC Blake,
serious.
mothballs. Cheers. Oh, there's my
What
girl
do you mean by that?
Desiree.
Mothballs.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean by that.
We're old.
Down. Yes, you'll have to break that down. But I don't we need organization. Yes, we need
Organize.
all of that.
Build, baby, build. Organize, baby, organize.
But
Don't
what I do
burn,
want
baby,
to do,
burn. Huh?
what I do want to do is make sure that people see the invitation, just to know how deep you are. Why are you looking like that? You know what I mean?
Invitation?
Yes, that came to you for the
Oh. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Chaz. So hold on, do you want to tell them about this while I cue it up?
Well, I mean, you talked about Obama in the White House. That's one of the things that happened, because now these world leaders, they now know of my work. And so what happened was, I was here in my corner painting, and it so happened that someone knew the president of the Gambia at the time, showed them my cotton series, and in the mail came, "You've got to bring this guy, this particular guy, to the Gambia, West Africa." And
We ready?
and I was invited to the Gambia, and
Let's see.
that invitation came in the mail, and that was really amazing. That blew my mind. The stamp on it alone, it was like very, very presidential. And you have to know, as an African American, I really felt my pieces coming together. Once again, magic. I wound up on the very island that Alex Haley. An invitation comes from the Gambia, a beautiful letter. And I'm standing here, I open the letter, and I had never been to Africa before. Never, I don't know what was going to get me there. I read this letter, and it was so warm and touching, from the president, Jammeh, and I was just completely floored. I still didn't believe it. It didn't register. I read the letter 4 times, and a ticket came in the mail for me to go to the Gambia. Now, I was so very touched that I painted that portrait of him in 4 days. I have never, ever done that, ever. I don't even know wherever that came from, shows the appreciation that I had for that invitation. I've been hanging my paintings in some very prestigious places. I haven't been touched so deeply and so profoundly as I was touched when I landed in the Gambia. Alex Haley, of course, you know the work Roots. Alex Haley was there in the early 70s doing this. I didn't know what was going to hit me when I got there. I hadn't a clue as to what to expect. What I didn't expect anything. I expected to see the president there, meet an African president, but I had no clue what was waiting for me. When I went there, I didn't want to go empty-handed, so I created a painting of him, and I physically took the painting to him, and it was to celebrate the Independence Day of the Gambia. And when I arrived there, he sat me up on the stage with him, the vice president, and all of these dignitaries. There was only like 8 of us, perhaps, and that was very special. And so it was my time to say something, and then I brought the painting up, and he was touched. He was very touched, and and we hugged, and everyone seemed to be a little shocked because he doesn't do that, and so we embraced, and he made me a goodwill ambassador after that, a diplomatic passport. Going to the Gambia and meeting those people, it was organic. It was birth. I knew that I come from there. We landed in Jufurey, and then we took the little boat over to James Island.
James Island was a natural island created by God in the middle of the river Gambia, between the north and the south of the river. It was an empty land with lots of baobab trees, so the island was only useful to the European slave traders.
This was also the island where Kunta Kinte and many of his compatriots were abducted and stationed there before they were finally transported to what was then called the New World.
And then we walked around, and they were giving me a tour of the whole place. And I walked into the little room down there where they said that they kept the strongest Africans to break them, right? And then I asked to be excused. I wanted to be left alone in that one little room. And I found myself realizing that in my life as an American who happens to be African American, and I felt that all of my nightmares started in this one little space. They must have been petrified of those guns and what was happening to frighten them into that state. And then they're going to keep them in this one little room to break their spirit. That I began to cry. That it was like acid. It was so, I was angry, sad, everything. Everything poured out, and I felt like I was just like new. And when I came out of the hole, someone said James Island again, right? And I go, oh, like it was like, no. This is not James Island. This is Kunta Kinte Island. And I meant that from my soul. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to talk to H.E. tomorrow. I'm going to talk to His Excellency tomorrow on this point. And then it was in the newspaper the next day on the front page. I think I took that power into the State House and said, that is not James Island. That is Kunta Kinte Island. And what are we going to do about that?
Jufure, as we all know, is the birthplace of Kunta Kinte, one of the many Gambians captured and sold into slavery some 400 years ago. James Island, as from today, Sunday, the 6th of February 2011, is renamed Kunta Kinte Island.
But we feel what is important today is for the generations coming to learn and know about what happened. So we know it's going to take time, but when people learn about and know and educate themselves about what happened, then the world could change.
I envision this bronze sculpture of this Mandinka warrior emerging out of a baobab tree, erected on that island, and even shooting up above the trees and reaching to the heavens, and then throwing the shackles of slavery into the Gambian River to say, slavery never again, freedom, and freedom for the globe. I thought that Kunta Kinte will be the torch carrier for global freedom around the world. After renaming the island, and I didn't know that it was going to explode like that. It was like I was the match that came across the Atlantic and lit a piece of dynamite, and it just like exploded. And so with my idea of creating the bronze sculpture, I'm now sitting there with the president, and I'm sketching out the one sculpture, and he and I are like working on ideas, and he's his idea to say freedom and then slavery never again. That is from President Yahya Jammeh. So we're like diligently collaborating on this, and everything came together.
Wow. Wow.
It's really, I can still smell Africa.
That is
when I'm watching that,
yes.
I can smell that place.
Wow. I mean, I just tear up just watching that every time. There's so much history there.
So
Thank
much
you. Thank you for what you did for the people, our people.
Well, it did. I wish that it got some steam. It fell. But then you never should say that, because time has its place for things.
Yeah, but it's
Hopefully,
no longer James Island. It's
right
now Kunta Kinte
right.
Island.
And if it's God's will, maybe more African Americans will know. Maybe, maybe there will be some ushering media-wise that will bring it to the attention of people who can make a difference. I can't make that difference. I'm only a painter.
Yes, but you took it. Thank you. Yes, Desiree, that's a trip we should all take.
Well, that's pretty much what I talked to the president at the time about. It should be a sojourn for all African Americans, like the Jewish people go to the Wailing Wall.
Yes.
This place would be a place where we could come, we could feel who we are. If you really think about, African Americans in this country, we're just a design of white European people for the most part, because everything was taken away. I mean, for God's sakes, they even made Jesus white, and it says explicitly what color and description he is in the Bible.
Wow.
So beyond all of the things that's in our mind, and then with the education as well, it's nothing about it's gonna change. It's change, but Africa is missing in a lot of people of color here, Black African American people. Africa is missing inside of them.
Oh.
That's why they can get to calling each other niggas.
Oh.
That's the only way you can get to call your brother that. I've seen so many intellectuals and so many beautiful kings and queens and beautiful Black people use that word, and they come up with the most cockamamie things like, it's brotherly love. We're going to take the power out of it. we're going to own it. I can say it, but you can't say it. All of that is absolute bullshit. And
Okay.
it's sort of like a masturbation of one's mind that can't feel the real thing. Either you don't care or you haven't a clue. Because you can't forget about the humiliation and the torture of your own ancestors. But I guarantee you, just like Richard Pryor said, when he went to Africa and he came back, he said, I will never say that word again.
Yes, he did. I remember
But you
that.
see, black people didn't have a lot of money. So, you know, when you're starving, you'll do just about anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's this. Dawn had an amazing conversation with my niece about this new video with these two ladies singing about very explicit sexual stuff, and that it's nowhere else to go with that. I mean, it's sort of like, and her response was, she made generational wealth. She doesn't have to worry about money, but at what cost?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Your
I
actual integrity. So
exactly.
there are some people that will look at me and say, Chaz, what the hell are you talking about? Integrity? Get out of here, man. I got to get paid.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so there are
let
some
me
people like that and some people that are just not. And so, you know, when I hear these people that have totally niggified our awesome culture,
yes,
it's just a painful thing.
it is. Let me ask you this. I understand that when you start painting, and
Hmm.
I wanted to understand better, you paint the eyes and the mouth first?
Yes.
You finish them first.
Yes, because I'm just weird that way because you know I'm painting alone, and so to conjure these um these images that I'm painting, I have to then start a imaginary conversation,
Mhm.
and so I start this imaginary conversation with
Mm.
these people that I'm conjuring on canvas.
Oh, check that out.
Yeah. And so one of my friends said, Chaz, one day they're going to be able to extract DNA from one of your paintings. I thought
Yeah.
that was quite a compliment.
Yes, I heard.
Kind of spooky. But I conjure them. I did a series of 7 Buffalo Soldiers at
Yes.
one point, and I couldn't think of 7 characters to come up with. So what I did, I watched Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai,
Mhm.
and
Mm.
I used those 7 Japanese men that Akira Kurosawa cast. Took him a year, so he's already done the homework. So what my job was to extract their personality and make them, make them Buffalo
Wow.
Soldiers, African Americans. I just used the same demeanor,
Wow.
the same
Yes.
night features, but if his face was long, I use that, the energy, the
Mhm.
just all of that. Yeah.
So we're almost out of time, but I
I can't
wanted
believe we made it. I can't believe I made it.
I can't believe I still got some champagne left. I'm like, woo, man. Mm.
I
Chad,
can't believe I sat in one spot for
here.
over an hour.
But
Yeah.
listen, so I wanted to feel what it was like to be a painter. I've never painted anything, I'm rock and roll. So this is what I was supposed to paint. I would ask you if you would critique it. I'm going to show you what it looked like. It's the hardest thing I've ever done.
Okay, let's see.
Let me see. Can you see? I
Oh,
didn't
that's
finish it.
absolutely beautiful.
Did I?
Are you
Can you?
kidding? What medium is that?
What you
Is that
mean?
watercolor?
Yes, it's what. And the thing is colored by numbers.
You should have told me that. That's the kind of stuff you keep secret. You don't tell everything.
Oh,
Okay. No,
wait
that's
a
excellent.
minute. My eyes were going crazy. And then the brush was too wet and it changed the color.
Okay.
And then Which brush do you use? Like, okay, I used that one.
What
It
you
was
should have done, you should have drank that damn bottle of champagne and then went at it. That's really good. You did a
oh,
really good job.
thank you.
I
I
love it.
can't
You should
get it
frame
out.
it.
Huh? No,
Yeah.
it came from China.
What? What came
the
from China?
the cloth and the paint
Well, be careful with that. I
and
wouldn't put that near children or animals. Keep that far away. They might chew on it, and they can cancel every major holiday and Christmas.
yeah.
From China.
Thank you, Valerie. That's my neighbor. She said you did a good job
She
cheating,
did
but
a good job.
I shouldn't have told him. I
Uh,
shouldn't have told him.
no, next time keep that the secret.
I don't know, but I wanted to figure out like, oh my God, that is the hardest thing. And if you don't have the numbers and you in your mind have got to figure out the design of what you're
Just
doing.
drink your champagne and dip that brush in that paint and just get it moving.
I'm such in awe of your work. I do want to tell them that Angelina Jolie also has your
Yeah.
artwork.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Um, I was introduced to her. That was really wonderful. That was at
Buffalo
my buddy
Soldier.
David Oyelowo introduced us actually, and he showed her my work, and she was in Bangladesh, and she sent me an email and said she wanted to come see my work, and I arranged it at the gallery, and she bought one of the soldiers that I was just talking about, one of the
Yeah.
Buffalo Soldiers. But later on, she wrote me the most beautiful letter. She's quite private, so I won't say so much. But she wrote, and I'm sure she wouldn't mind if I said it, because she has been very active in the Black Lives Matter thing. She wrote me and said, "Thank you so much for helping me to show my daughter how beautiful she is."
Mm. Wow.
Me to show my daughter herself.
Wow.
And that was big. So I did a portrait of her. So that was what, and she asked me to do that because she was turning 15, and the mission that I was after was, I learned from Bausus, and that's another thing, how nature stepped in, the magic of things, because I always wanted to try to grasp the magic when a little girl leaves her girlhood onto womanhood, that angelic transformation, and a young girl.
Wow.
That I hold like a ray of light, like this light right here.
Yes.
Women grow up to birth every human being on the planet. You guys are the bomb. Okay,
Wow.
so the thing is that, look, I wanted to take this little girl, and I wanted to try to arrest that moment where she is in her girlhood, just approaching her womanhood. And I do believe that I was successful at getting that. Maybe soon you'll see the painting. I believe that something might be in the making of that the public will have a chance to see.
Yes.
This painting that I've created was commissioned
for her daughter. Yes. So I do want to ask, what would you say to inspiring upcoming artists?
What would I say? I would say, listen to yourself, trust yourself, confidence. Confidence, let nobody judge you. Be yourself, your authentic self, but with respect and some integrity, please, if you can muster that. Because if you don't be your authentic self, if you are your authentic self without integrity attached, well, you might find yourself in some very, very peculiar situations or things. So I would say travel, explore this world, learn people, go for the heart of things, and move your pencil, move your paint, and just explore yourself. And this is what I would say. And don't look to be judged. Don't look to be critiqued. Trust yourself and just go at it.
Mm.
And if somehow you can, meet good people, share your work. Don't be ashamed to share your work. And don't be afraid of being the least talented in the room or the least informed in the room. Be the dumbest person in the room and learn from everybody. It's
Oh,
not a contest. There is no finish line. There's no finish line. We wake
wow.
up and we rush for things. It's like if you made a beeline to a red light. You gotta
Mhm.
stop. So enjoy the process. Paint, draw, go to museums, read, look, live. Living is an art form. Learn how to live.
Mhm. And you are really enjoying the fruits of your labor.
I'm enjoying the fruit of waking up. I love this. I love to eat, paint, sing loud, off key,
Oh
every
yeah,
day. Love
that's
it.
another thing. So Miles Davis, since I'm rock and roll music, Miles Davis is a great influence of yours, or
Not just
you like
Miles.
his music?
Like my son, he can tell you now. He's 26 now. He'll tell you my dad is nuts like that. It's Miles, Rachmaninoff, Monk,
Kenny.
Beethoven, Kenny
Ooh,
Garrett, Pharoah Sanders,
ooh,
Braun, Bach,
mm.
Ornette Coleman, and Mahalia Jackson, and some Stevie Wonder.
Oh
That's my
wow,
dude.
wow. He has some of your work too. I saw you
Yeah,
with
that's my
Wonder.
dude. That's my dude. It's so funny that we're men together now because he raised me. Really, I told him his music raised me. That's why I'm so adamant about the lyric of music because Stevie in the '70s ministered
Hmm.
to me. I was open for that.
Hmm.
Songs in the Key of Life for Phil's first final and Music of My Mind. All of that is me. That music, that and James Brown saying, "Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud." How
That's
on earth
us.
did we get to nigga
Yeah.
and, and
Okay.
B and the B word? How does that happen?
You know.
Oh,
So
we got to change that, ladies and gentlemen. Please.
yes, we do. We can do better. So, Chaz, I
Yeah.
sincerely thank you for sitting down with me tonight on Roz's Happy Hour.
You're very welcome, Roz's Happy Hour. Get me all
Amazing.
tipsy and
It was amazing time. I've learned so much, and you're so uplifting. I wish you continued success, and I'm gonna try and get a good job so I can get afford one of your paintings one of these days.
don't wait too long now. Because it's on like Donkey Kong.
Mm, mm. You guys go follow Chaz on all his social media and his Facebook page. We always support artists and what they do here. Um, but I wish you continued success
Thank you, my
with
dear.
what you do.
Thank
And
you for having me on your beautiful show.
thank you. Thank you so much. All right, let me. Um,
Arrest those police officers that killed Breonna Taylor.
amen. 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 Hold on. So, um, well, that concludes episode number 11. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Wow, if you knew the week I had leading up to this Wednesday, when I tell you never give up, push through any difficulties that you may have experienced, you can do it. You can do it. Um, I'll see you next week when our musical guest is Miss Regina Bell. Thanks all.